Well, here we are, 7 months later than I expected, but I figured it's time to put a bookend video at the end of these videos to you, my kids, so that you'll have some sort of clue of how this story progresses and how it ends. It's kind of our historical record for a tough period in our life. I also wanted to put it out there for my friends who have also been following along and let them know, hey, I'm still alive, here's what's going on, and here's where things are going. All right, so here's the update on what happened, starting from the beginning. So the short period between October and November, those 6 weeks, didn't know whether I was going to live or die, didn't know if I was going to be alive to see the birth of William, didn't even know if I was going to make it to that Christmas from October. So the beginning, those 6 weeks, all these videos were just an intense outpouring, fast and furious thoughts to try to get these things out before I started, who knows, having seizures, having memory loss. I didn't know what was going to happen at that point. So you know, I wanted to pour out these summaries and these teachings and the most precious things I had to you kids. Leave a digital mausoleum or a small spiritual legacy. Even for William, who, like I said, I didn't think I would see. So that was those series of videos. That was a very frightening time that I didn't know whether I was coming or going. But it was really only about 6 weeks from October into November. Watch that last video, update on the brain tumor, and you'll see and hear what changed everything. I mean, the Lord showed up. He changed my perspective. I went from thinking about death and recording a digital mausoleum for you kids to expecting to live and to be all right and to stay here and be your dad and teach you those things in person. So I believe that by faith. At that point, we really hadn't even started treatment. We didn't know where it was going to go and how things were going to work, but the Lord showed up and I believed him. And at this point, I was just trusting him. So after trusting him, where did things go? First was I started investigating all the options. You know, we were going to go to New York City or we're going to go to Texas. And ended up, the Lord led me to stay in Rochester. There may have been better treatment in a different location, but this is where I live and this is where the people I minister to are and this is my community. And so God gave me peace to stay here and receive treatment. You know, we explored chemo versus radiation chemo. There were some studies that showed that adding chemo to the standard radiation produced a longer period of no more growth on the tumor. So we decided to go that route and try the radiation with chemo. And the treatment's going as expected. That's good. I had 6 weeks of chemo and radiation followed up by another 6 months of chemo, which I'm still in the middle of. This week is actually one of my chemo weeks, and they're starting to figure it out. I'm actually doing pretty good on the treatment. So it's going as expected. They're showing, the MRIs are showing that there's some death in the tumor, that's good, that the cells are starting to die. They probably won't go anywhere, but at least the point is that they stop growing. So that's a plus. Recently, on this last MRI that your mom and I went to go listen to or look at and hear from the doctors, they said that a new study had just come out that confirmed to a stronger degree that previous study that radiation plus chemo had a much longer period before any kind of regrowth on the tumor. I think the first just radiation showed about 5 to 7 years that they could get that tumor on average to stop growing. This showed a 10 or longer period that is indefinite. They haven't even figured out how much better the chemo and radiation is. So that's, from a medical perspective, the doctors are happy. It's looking good. Looks like they made the right decision. And hey, that just makes it sound like I might have another 20, 30 years if everything goes well. So it's all about stopping the tumor growth. They're looking at MRIs. It was every month. Now it's every other month. And as the doctor said, hopefully we'll be doing this for many more years to come. So now I just need to make it through treatment, endure this chemo, and Lord willing, hopefully this end of the chemo will go better than the beginning of the chemo as they figure out how to keep me from being nauseous and exhausted and all that good stuff. And then after that, they said it takes potentially up to a year for everything to kind of get back to normal and your body to be recovered. But hey, what an experience. I've learned so much in this period to sacrifice a year, and Lord willing, I'm still around for another 20 or 30 years, this will have been one heck of a wild adventure to dig up all the things, in my heart, to make me appreciate, time and appreciate my family and appreciate the work. So far so good, but that's the medical updates. Well, now that I'm back in a place where I'm planning to live and assuming I'm going to be around for some period of time, what's next? And I think the answer is I just want to pick up the work that the Lord has called me to, pick up where I left off as strength allows and as my body is able to cooperate, begin again doing the work of an evangelist. I think the difference now is that there's a much greater sense of urgency and importance, as I don't take for granted the days, the times, the hours the Lord has given me. Life is short, death is inevitable. So I got to buy this time. It's not coming in months, but shoot, it is coming. It's coming for all of us. So to do the work of an evangelist, to share good news. I mean, the thought of death coming for all of us, the thought of an early death coming for any of us, terrifying. But yet there is a hope that sustains us in this life and in the life to come. And to be frank, a lot of people don't know it, or they've heard some version of it which doesn't sound like good news, it sounds like bad news. And so the good news needs to get told, to do the work of an evangelist and to tell people who are living with fear, living with anger, living with frustration. They need to hear good news. I mean, as this world gets more and more crazy and more violent, there's a lot more need for that good news. And so I want to get back to work with that. Also, I want to work for reconciliation within the church. So many divisions and so many different sects. To bring peace, to bring unity to the church is a passion. I mean, I'd say within the church, it's probably my single most driving passion is to see the love of the church, the unity of the church fostered and growing. And those who are false, we can discern those. We have the Holy Spirit. We can break from those who want to create factions, who want to create sects, who want to profit off of the Lord's gospel, who want to go up instead of following the Lord who goes down. And as those who are true, as those who are filled with the Holy Spirit, those who have the love of the Holy Spirit, those who are truly on the mission of Christ and willing to go down to the cross for the sake of our neighbors and for the sake of others, well, as we can start to come together and work together, the scriptures are very clear that proclaims the kingdom and makes it visible for outsiders to see. So lots of work to be done there, and very excited to make new connections and to meet new believers locally, especially in this neighborhood, but even throughout the state as the churches are starting to come together and to work together. If what I've experienced so far is only a taste of what's to come, I am excited about the good news for this work and the fruit of this work. Well, the whole process of making these videos and getting them out there just in a rush and in desperation has led to a great discovery. So here's the plan moving forward. In the process of doing these videos for you, the kids, and finding how far and wide they went, I'm discovering that this is an incredible tool to do the work that the Lord has called me to do. The ability to make videos, especially for this season of life during treatment. For example, I can, on a bad day, not make a video. The next day, if I'm feeling good, I can just do it as time and energy and ability allows. And so I'm seeing some flexibility that give it some great advantages over public speaking or having to be at an engagement or a presentation. That this actually works with the weakness that I'm experiencing right now. I'm also realizing too, based upon feedback that has been coming from places I never would have expected, much farther, much wider than I would have thought some goofy guy's videos to his kids would ever have gone. I'm seeing it's like Paul's epistles or his letters to the churches, that 2,000 years later, we're still reading Paul's letters. They stuck around even when he was gone. They went far and they went wide. It wasn't just Paul there speaking, but he, by writing something and recording something, it was able to be passed on and shared around and to reach different churches and to reach different individuals. And so I'm realizing that for the amount of energy and effort to try to put something good and useful and hopeful together, that it can be able to reach a little farther and to reach a little bit longer. So these videos, they're a great discovery. I'm finding that it's a tool that I'm very happy about discovering. I'm also discovering that the work I normally do, which is to be in the 19th Ward here, out in the neighborhood, delivering gospel literature, meeting people on the street, praying with people, that this is complementary to that work. That if I had a body of videos, or have a body of videos, that oftentimes when I meet people, they're like, wow, that's interesting, I want to hear more, but time doesn't allow. They're going somewhere, I'm going somewhere. So to be able to point someone to say, hey, if you want to hear more about the Lord and his kingdom and the good news, like go listen to this. So I'm finding that it has the potential to extend a conversation, to let somebody learn more at their own leisure, at their own convenience. The other thing too is a lot of times I'll meet fellow believers from far away, and they're excited about what the church is doing here in this neighborhood, and how they get really encouraged about the unity of the church here, and how all these churches in the 19th Ward are working together and representing Christ in a way that rarely gets seen. The testimonies that ooze out of here, and they say, wow, I'd like to learn more about what you're doing, or why you're doing what you're doing, or how you came to be doing what you're doing. And so again, time very rarely allows the leisure to just extendedly discuss at length what the Lord's doing. So having a set of videos allows that ability to say, hey, go check this out, and let's talk about it as we're able. I'm even finding that some of these videos, because of the interweb net thing, how far these things can go. Like, people just stumble across stuff, and I've had responses from people that I never would have met otherwise. So even the ability to start new conversations. So you can see the idea of making videos is becoming more and more hopeful. That I'm seeing this as a great tool. So all that to say, coming from this tragedy, coming from this crisis, moving forward and onward, what's next? Well, this is some of the good stuff that the Lord is bringing out. That there is new tools, new ideas about how to continue to share the good news. And I think, so this is the closing bookend to the start, the videos for my kids, and hopefully the beginning of a new chapter of using YouTube, using videos to communicate with those who are close to me, those who are near, those who are far, and hopefully foster relationships and start some new ones. Okay, so that was a lot of words, but let me just sum it all up and give a quick rehash. I stopped making the videos for you kids because I plan on being around to tell you kids myself. So wild beginning there, and thought everything was crazy and a super sobering start, but hey, it produced a lot of good fruit. It's drawn our family closer together. It's drawn friends who have been far off much closer together. I can't believe, the number of email exchanges and phone calls that have come from this trial. It's the kind of thing I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I've been able to meet so many more new people through the trial. It's helped me to clarify my work and my calling, to re-motivate me in the work, to help me to appreciate the time that I have left. It's been, and even to the point of revealing new opportunities to do the work more effectively. So it appears they've got the tumor stopped for now, that it is not growing, and may that continue to happen for another 30 to 40 years. There's no telling, but I'll take it while it's stopped, and get busy. In the meantime, life is just taking on fresh meaning, fresh purpose, time to get busy. There's one prayer that I continue to pray over and over again, which is, I'll read it right here. It's Psalm 71, 17 to 18. It says, "O God, from my youth you have taught me, and I still proclaim your wondrous deeds. So even to old age and gray hair, O God, do not forsake me until I proclaim your might to another generation and your power to all those to come." So that's the plan moving forward, to accomplish that in the Lord's power. Keep your eyes peeled. Hopefully see a lot of new videos coming out here shortly. Love you, and God bless.